Draymond Green is a champion, a future Hall of
You
Famer.
know what you did. You know exactly what you did. You don't even like Draymond Green.
A Hall of
Everybody
Famer,
likes Draymond
a
Green.
defensive
He
player
knows
of
that.
the year. Like,
You don't
hey,
even
man.
like. Welcome to the One Take Podcast, episode 121.
We talk about sports here.
I'm tired of this. Tired of this slander. We've been fighting for our lives in the group chat for 2 days. I've had it.
Hey,
we're
look,
reviewing John
I was
Wick.
sold a bill of goods. All right, I was sold a bill of goods.
We're reviewing the 2014 classic action spectacular that set the tone for action movies for decades to come. John Wick with our good boy Keanu Reeves. We're joined by a longtime guest doing another good movie, actually. A good Keanu movie this time. Marcus Brent. Marcus, how we doing?
Good. Welcome to the Three Astros and a Yankee podcast where we talk about TJ's terrible baseball decisions.
What led you to this life? You grew up in Houston. We've never really delved deep. Do you like yourself?
I'm born and raised.
No, I'm talking about
him being Yankee.
Sorry. Talking to me.
Yeah. My apologies.
Go Yankees. The season has kind of fallen apart, so I'm just looking forward to next year because it's been bad. It's been very bad.
It's got like an 18-game division lead. Like it's fine.
Y'all will be all right. You'll lose to us in the ALCS.
We're not doing shit. We're not doing shit in the playoffs. No, I've abandoned hope.
I'm glad you see it that way because it's gonna be great.
Hope has been abandoned.
Let's get into it because Dex. Dex set the internet on fire
He ruined the internet.
I feel like this is the first time I really got packed up, like on this new account.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad as it could have been. People were treating it like it was about to. I don't know though. Cam came in with his 17,000 followers later than expected, so like you didn't. So like it's coming in waves.
Yeah.
John Wick came out in 2014, rated R. A just brisk, chef's kiss, hour and 41 minute movie, and it's really probably even shorter than that. 7.4 on IMDb. An ex-hitman comes out of retirement to track down the gangsters that killed his dog and took everything from him. Has a 68 Metascore on Metacritic. Directed by Chad Stahelski. David Leitch also helped direct this first one. It says he's uncredited for this as well. David Leitch from Bullet Train and Deadpool fame as well. Written by Derek Kolstad. Stars an aging Keanu Reeves, Michael Nevquist, I believe is how you pronounce his name, is Vigo. Alfie Allen or Theon Greyjoy as his son. Joseph.
That's how I'll be referring to him tonight.
Theon Greyjoy. Dean Winters, who, if you don't know, is Mayhem from the Allstate commercials, and also Adrienne Pilecki from Friday Night Lights fame, and the guy that makes just everything better, Willem Dafoe, gracing us with his presence in just a nothing role that is incredible, but also somebody that also makes things better. Ian McShane and John Leguizamo are in this movie as well. A lot of character actors, Lance Reddick as well, on a $20 million
superhero movie crossover.
Yeah, a lot of superhero movie MCU crossover here. On a $20 million budget, this made $86 million. And we were talking before we went live, Dex, you thought this was like a bigger hit than it was because it's talked about so much. It's funny. It was sort of a late arriving movie because I think people saw the trailer for it and kind of, we'll talk about Keanu's career retrospective, but the sort of trajectory that he was on and what kind of movies he had made before this and the way that they put this in the trailer. I don't know if y'all remember this trailer, but they just said, you killed his dog and stole his car. I said, what is this shit? I remember in the theater being like, no way. Absolutely not. And then it comes out and it gets like an 86. I can tell you, it gets an 86% Rotten Tomatoes, 81% audience score. And people are like, wait, does this kind of rock? And so it didn't make as much money as you think, but all they want to do is make 2 times their money plus. So they made a good the investors made a good $20 million on this movie. So that prompted them to make the second one and go all out on the third one and now the fourth one. But it was a late arriving movie. And I think the reason that, and I just wanted to go off on this, I think the reason that people like it so much is because you could have a double feature because people came to this movie so late. They were basically just like renting this still, or it came onto Netflix, I believe, and then going and watching the second one because word of mouth spread after it came out like you would with a DVD or at a video store back in the day. We don't get that anymore. That actually happened with this movie. I remember it because I didn't watch it until the second one came out. But all that to say, it doesn't even matter the history of this movie. Dex hated it and is going to slander it. I cannot believe this. We were been singing this thing's praises for like 5 years on this podcast.
I didn't hate it. Let's be clear. It's fine. It's fine. It was overhyped to me. Had I seen it when it first came out, or when like before the wave took off, had I seen this in the theaters, or had I seen it like right before the second one came out, or whatever, I probably would have enjoyed it a lot more. But having people tell you for 8 years now that this is like a game-changing action movie and it's incredible and you're insane because you haven't seen it, it's like you watched and like that's it. Like, okay. it was fine. It was fine. Absolutely fine film.
Is that your review? Do you want to
ridiculous?
Yeah, I mean, I can keep going.
I'm going to give you a chance to defend yourself because I know like we're just going to be coming after you this entire time, and 100 people on Twitter quote tweeted your tweet.
Yeah, look, I get it, right? I understand why people enjoy an action movie kind of distilled down to only the basics, right? There's nothing in here that you don't need. It's just wife died. I'm very sad. They killed my dog. I have to kill them now. And then action movie. And that's it. Like there's nothing else here. And I get how that would work for some people. But for me, it felt like, you ever seen Chopped and they make like a deconstructed PB&J and you're like, okay, like I guess that's a thing you could make. I don't care though. Like it's not like,
but it's not pretentious.
I don't want that. Like it's kind of become pretentious like that because of the way people talk about it after the fact. Had people just been like, oh, this is a perfectly fine action movie, you know, it's a good time, hour and 40 minutes, really small, quick flick, just watch it. You'll probably enjoy it. Great. I would have been like, yeah, this was a fun little action flick for an hour and 40 minutes. I did enjoy myself. But when people are like, what? You haven't seen John Wick? Like the most incredible action movie of the last decade? How could you not have seen it? I'm like, it ain't that good, man. And the reason it's not that good is, well, there's two reasons. First of all, there's no stakes. Nothing, it doesn't matter. Nothing matters in this. It's way too easy for John Wick to do everything that he's doing. And also, like, you can make a good movie without, like, the character ever being in real danger. Like, that's fine. Like, I don't need to think that our main character is going to die. I watch Marvel movies, for Christ's sake. Like, I know they're not going to die. But, like, whether John Wick lives or dies doesn't even matter. Like, there's no, like, I don't care. He's trying to avenge his dog's death. So, like, okay, that's fine.
You know why it matters? Because it's Keanu fucking Reeves. That's why it matters.
I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, he's running through this nightclub, just like shooting dudes in the head, and that's cool and stuff. But I'm like, I don't care what's happening. It doesn't matter to me whether anyone in this lives or dies. None of these characters have names or dialogue. Like none of them has anything. I don't care what happens to them. Like I'm not interested. Like I'm not invested. I don't care. And then a couple of the characters later on like start dying. Like Perkins or whatever. She's like has a little like hint of betrayal or whatever, and she just dies immediately. And I'm like, okay, well that's done. Willem Dafoe just dies immediately, and I'm like, all right, well that's over. Like I don't care. Nothing matters in this. It's whatever. It's a C movie for me.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Oh my god.
Erroneous.
Yeah, the other reason this movie is not as great as it could be is because Keanu Reeves is just not good. I'm sorry. He's just not
What are we
good.
doing?
Ridiculous.
He's
What are
just
we
not
doing?
good. This man cannot act. I'm sorry.
Okay, but this is where your tweet went awry because you're conflating Keanu Reeves, the action star, with Keanu Reeves, the actor.
The actor.
We have
You
never
have to
claimed. No, we have never claimed that Keanu Reeves is a great actor. He's never been.
Nobody
a great
has ever said
Of
that.
course, he is not a
No
great
one's ever said
actor,
that.
and no one's ever said Draymond Green is a great shooter. But if you want to be Steph Curry, you got to have a complete game up in here. You can't be out here with this big ass hole in your game.
Wait,
gotta
does
you
Steph
said
get
Keanu Reeves,
rebounds?
the action.
Does Steph dunk on people? The Steph doesn't have a. If complete game is being able to do literally
Steph
everything
doesn't play
on the basketball court,
defense.
Steph doesn't play defense or dunk on people.
Steph doesn't
or,
play
like,
defense
what-
as well as Draymond Green plays defense, but he plays defense.
But here's the thing: you said as an action star.
Draymond shoots
Yeah,
plenty.
as
He
an
doesn't
action
shoot like Steph
star.
Curry.
As an action star, he's at least like this. Doesn't even make any sense, but it was a great tweet that somebody said. Kawhi Leonard.
No,
Yes.
I like
At
that.
least
What are you
he
talking
was.
about?
At
Much
least
better.
he was
Kawhi Leonard
Clay.
can do everything. Kawhi Leonard can do
How can
everything.
Keanu
have to-
can't on an action movie set. He can do everything.
You have to warp your movie around the fact that Keanu has this big ass hole in his game and he can't talk. Like everything, like the
Yeah,
Matrix,
and you
for
have to
example.
use help defense off of Steph Curry because he can't fucking. You have to use an extra defender off of Steph Curry's switches because he can't fucking guard the pick and roll.
You
Arnold
don't have
Schwarzenegger
to
couldn't
do
even
that.
speak English, and he made Terminator 2. What are we talking about here? Who
But
cares if he can
exactly, Arnold Schwarzenegger couldn't speak English, and he was out there cooking, and they still had. They were like, you know what? We're
Keanu's
gonna have Arnold
cooking too.
Schwarzenegger talk. We're going to have him talk in this movie. Keanu Reeves, they're just like, we're just not gonna let your character talk at all. Like if you were talking, something has gone wrong. Like we cannot let you talk in this goddamn movie. You're going to fuck everything up. We need to warp our entire movie around the fact that you do not talk. Like every single scene you're in, we're gonna make someone else do all the talking until you can drop a one-liner and move on.
But not for nothing, he's the fucking boogeyman. He's a serial killer. Have we not? Do we miss that part of the movie
And-
where he's like the worst person that's ever lived?
And they gotta make other people tell us that because he can't talk.
Dex, what are we doing here, man?
This is ridiculous.
What are we doing? All right,
I'm sorry, man.
Marcus, redeem this
See.
somehow before we lose
All
all
right.
listeners.
So I will say this: the problem with Keanu's acting is the moments where like they put him on a pedestal and they're like, "Hey, deliver this line." That's like when he was talking to the dad in the chair and he was like, "You know,
I'm thinking I'm
people,"
back.
yeah, exactly. Like that's a bad line. Like it just he delivers it poorly. But I think when he's in general conversations, like when he talks to Lance Riddick in the what's the hotel called?
Continental.
The Continental, excuse me. Yeah. So when he talks to Lance Riddick in the Continental, he comes off fine. Talking to Ian McShane, it's normal conversations. He's fine, and it doesn't look robotic. But the moment that like he has to have any sort of shine on him is when you're like, oh, yeah, maybe somebody else would be doing this. And so that's the only problem. But like, I really enjoyed this movie. Like Royden said, I caught it. I saw most of this movie getting a haircut without my glasses because, you know, getting a haircut. And it was like on low volume. So I was just like seeing a blurry sort of mix of what's going on screen. I was like, okay.
Underrated movie watching experience, by the way. Like there's so many
Without
random
glasses,
ass
no, thank
movies
you.
I've seen like that.
Yeah, and so I caught it, like Royden said, like before 2 came out, and then I actually saw 3 in theaters. But it's a very enjoyable movie. What my thing with Dex is that Dex will have all these opinions on movies, be thrown at him for movies that are like way in the past or even in the most recent past, and it'll be like, oh, I didn't see them. And then it's like, well, these people are talking up these movies, and he's like, oh, but now I watched it, it's not as good because, you know, years later have happened. And it's like, but if you consider what this movie was in 2014 in a sea of business. I just brought up the movie. I was telling TJ earlier. I was looking at the 2013 and 2014 action movies. Here's your slate for the year 2013.
I can already tell you.
Yeah. Oblivion, After Earth, Elysium,
That's
Ender's
nasty.
Game, Thor: The Dark World. That is 2013. All right.
That is so nasty.
Now you are redeemed a bit because things like Pacific Rim comes out, which is really cool. But yeah, on the whole, pretty terrible. Here's 2014. Now this one actually has good movies in it. There's Edge of Tomorrow, Dawn of Planet of the Apes, Interstellar, and then this movie John Wick. But it's like it does. Oh, Guardians of the Galaxy also comes out this year. So it's like the only thing that we have tangible that isn't like something that's a sequel or anything else is something like this. And so, and then you have just it pole vaults Keanu into a different stratosphere than he's been in 20 years. It makes him a household name again.
At the end of this, I do want to talk about where he was, and I was going to talk about it a little bit, of like kind of his rundown of his IMDb, because it's like it was after, I don't know, maybe even like Constantine, which came out in 2005. Like, is he cooked? Was he doing like? Is he showing up as like the third lead in like romantic comedies? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah,
stop believing.
I do agree with you, Marcus, where it came out. But yeah, continue with your review.
And yeah, sorry. So my letter grade for it is an A. I really enjoyed revisiting it, and while I do have some worries of what we're going to see from John Wick 4, I really enjoyed this movie. And I mean, we got 2 of my 5 favorite Wirecast members in this movie.
Yeah,
just throwing 100 as per usual. That's all I care about, man. It's a great film.
It is hard on this podcast to like revisit movies. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt and revisit movies and like that a populace loves, and then you're watching it on your 55-inch TV at your house or whatever. And Granted, I watched the first John Wick, I think, on a bootleg stream on my laptop in college. So, and I still loved it. So that's not saying something, but it is something that when we're like, oh, you haven't seen The Godfather? You got to see The Godfather in theaters like that. And it's just like, I wasn't alive in 1975, so
I missed it. Sorry.
No, or Tej, do you have a review?
I think we're missing the biggest point of why this movie is a great movie. There is no action movie that looks, feels, or anything like John Wick pre-John Wick. When I walked out of that movie theater, when I saw this movie in theaters, I said, holy shit, they taught this senior citizen to completely beat the shit out of everyone. And I've never said this before, and no one has ever said this before about any other film, but I've never seen guns used in the way that they're used in John Wick. Think about how long we've been seeing guns used in American cinema. Since the beginning of time, since the Westerns, since the beginning of film, there have been guns in movies because Americans love guns. I do not love guns. Keanu Reeves does love guns. And this is one time where someone loving guns actually gave some good to the world, because holy shit, this dude was training for months and months and months before he even started filming the movie. And the way that they are shooting this movie, the way that he's using a pistol, it is so dope that in the beginning of this film, he's getting rushed by people, and he doesn't have a machine gun like you would typically see the Arnold Schwarzenegger days. You would just get a machine gun or a rocket launcher. You got to deal with like 20 dudes at once. You get the biggest fucking gun you can find. John Wick's like, no, I need a pistol. I need a couple clips, and everybody in here is getting laid out. Like that's
and a fucking pencil.
To watch the way that this movie is choreographed, it is art in itself. Before we even get to the Keanu performance, before we even get to how it looks, how the music sounds, it is insane the way that this film is choreographed. It looks like it took so much time to choreograph these movements. And to me, that is the absolute coolest thing about these movies, is that nobody was, now people are copying them. But at this point, these 2 stunt dudes are making a movie, they're directing a movie, but they are stuntmen. So they have seen everything there is to see on the side of stunts. They've been on all the biggest movie sets, and they are making something completely novel and completely within their own voice, which to me is the dopest shit ever. That's why it works. You walk out of that movie theater and you had never seen an action movie like John Wick before, because no one had. And that's what makes it so dope. And that's what made this particular movie, just John Wick 1, so awe-inspiring, is because people walked out and they were like, wow, I've seen a lot of action movies. Between us, we've probably seen 5,000 action movies between the 4 of us. We've probably seen everything, right? I'd never seen no shit like that before. The way in which they're doing the gung fu is just the dopest thing ever. And it has not gotten old to me yet after 3 films. and I just love it. Keanu Reeves. My hot take is that if Keanu Reeves was barefaced, this movie would not be good. But he has facial hair and he's beautiful, and it is fucking perfect. When he walks up to the bar and he sees Francis at the door, and Francis says, "You working tonight, John?" And he goes, "Yeah. Maybe you should take the night off."
Afraid so, Francis.
Afraid so.
You mean Steve Nash?
Steve Nash.
That's
Kevin Nash.
Perfect
Kevin
delivery.
Nash.
He said afraid. He looked at Kevin Nash in his face and said, "Hey, Kevin Nash, unfortunately, I'm working tonight." And Kevin Nash said, "Say no more, brother. I'm going home to watch Netflix."
I'm gonna be
That was
felon
at
there,
the
man.
beginning of the scene. That is the coolest thing ever. He literally was like, "This one dude, I'm sparing you. Everybody else in the club is a target." He gets into the club. The music's playing. Theon is running around, scared for his life in a towel, and John Wick is shooting everybody that moves. He's getting shot. Dex said in the group chat that John Wick went through this whole movie without breaking a sweat. John Wick got shot like 7 times in this movie, brother. He got shot and when he was shot in healing,
thrown off a balcony.
When he was shot in healing, a woman broke into his room and started beating the shit out of him. He had to take his little cast off so he could fight. Like, this is the coolest movie ever. Every time I watch it, I love that they're so stripped down on the plot. Hey, here's a bad guy. The son is a piece of shit. You know the son's not going to be any challenge, but you also know that the dad is him. And so the dad has got to come to a decision knowing that the boogeyman is after his son. I either going to give you my son or I'm not going to give you my son, and everybody's going to die. I love what they're doing with the Green Goblin. The Green Goblin is on his side, but you don't really know because he accepted the contract, but really he was trying to get information. That's like the most complicated this movie gets. But like, I can't believe that Dex watched this movie and was like, nonetheless, like but I also saw it in 2014. So like, this is literally on the cutting edge of what people were doing in action. Now, not so much, but they're still up in their game. 2 has some cool shit in it. 3 has a lot of cool shit in it. They brought Halle Berry, who is the sexiest woman to ever exist. They brought her on set 6 months before they even had cameras on set and said, "You have to learn how to interact with these 2 big-ass dogs so we can do a 5-minute scene where these dogs are beating the shit out of everybody." That kind of dedication is phenomenal. And for a podcast that routinely gives Tom Cruise credit for jumping off of tall buildings and flying fucking fighter pilots and
He's him.
Noticing the dedication that they're putting into these movies, we cannot treat Keanu, who is at least 87 years old, with disrespect by calling him Draymond Green. This man is in the gym, putting in work, staying in shape, and choreographing these movies, which takes him months and months and months to do. This movie is an A+ just because it sets the tone. But if you're just grading it as a movie in terms of entertainment experience, it's probably like a B+. But because of what it did for the genre, the action movies we see now, the Marvel movies we see now, the way that we see guns used, even in the latest Mission Impossible films, is quite literally taken from what they did in John Wick. These dudes changed the game. That's why Chad Stahelski is going to have a job forever. That's why dude that just made David Leitch got to make Bullet Train. It's all because that they made John Wick and they changed the game.
Talk to him, Pop.
I guarantee that Tom Cruise says, "Oh, I watch every movie that comes out in theaters," which I mean he lied about, but we'll let him lie about it. It's fine. Like that's just like the.
I mean, what else does he have to do? He's Tom Cruise.
Try to kill himself every single day. I don't know, but I guarantee you, he saw John Wick in the theater and said, "You know what? We need to do that in the 2015 Mission Impossible."
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
He said, "Hey, let me get up on my pistol work. I don't use a lot of, I use the pistols, but now it's got to look cool. You can't just have a pistol anymore in a movie. If you are him, you can't just have a pistol. You have to do gung fu. The game has changed, and Keanu brought about this change to the world. A pistol has never looked as cool as it did when John Wick is holding it. I've never seen a pistol look so cool, and I don't even like guns.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Gun fu is like really just not like my thing like that. Like it's cool, obviously. Like, and there's movies who can pull it off.
Right in space.
But I'm like, like watching like Equilibrium, for example. I hated that shit, man. Like
that's 2001. What are we talking about?
I hated it. Like, it was so stupid. I'm like, why? This is so dumb. I cannot handle it. Like, obviously, John Wick is a better movie than Equilibrium in like every single way. But like, I just couldn't. I can't. Gun fu is not for me personally.
This is I'm just gonna piggyback, just step on the toes of everything that Teach said, because I mean I can't really follow that up, but this movie for me is a throwback. As somebody who grew up watching, like I'm sure Marcus and even Dex to an extent, like grew up watching all the Schwarzenegger, the Stallone late 80s, early 90s camp action movies. This is a throwback that is innovative in a way, where you have the main action star, somebody who, regardless of what you think about his acting ability, has put asses in seats for 3 generations of movie fans, Keanu. And you just have him go through this world and just float through this world, just like Schwarzenegger, just like Stallone. And it doesn't matter what the story is, as long as you have that guy being OP throughout this entire universe. Schwarzenegger, like Commando's not a good movie. You know what I mean? But that movie sold tickets. You want to know why? Because he was killing people with machine guns and blowing shit up. It was awesome. And we wanted to see Schwarzenegger do that.
Awesome.
I have to agree that the gung fu stuff is something that it's not original, because, like I said, it was a lot of this was taken from Chinese cinema and stunt work that they had seen over there in those films, but it brought it to an American audience, because what we had been seeing, and I'm trying to grade the movie without like sort of the history of it, but it is so innovative and like changed the game for action movies that you can't not talk about the history of it. But what we were seeing was Liam Neeson quick cuts. He's not doing half the action in those movies. It's quick cutting between action set pieces. It's like, I don't know if you've ever seen the quick cut of him jumping over the fence in like the third Taken movie or whatever, but it's 18 cuts. Yeah. It is insane.
In like 7 seconds or something.
Yeah. So it was the sort of shaky cam, Born Identity, Born Ultimatum, which movies I love, by the way.
Man, that shaky cam era was fun as hell.
Yeah, movies I love.
Yeah, Born kind of ruined cinema in that way, but like it was crazy when they did it. Like,
right,
it was hot when they did it.
That's the same way that I feel about John Wick and this John Wick franchise. Atomic Blonde came out after this as well, so it's sort of like, I think
John Wick got a lot of sons out here. Like I give you that for sure.
Yeah,
John Wick got a lot of sons out here.
But just going into what it is as a film, we give points, like you said, to Tom Cruise for trying to kill himself. One, we didn't ask Tom Cruise to do that.
I did. And I'm gonna ask him again. Go to the moon. I need it.
I might not have asked him the first time he tried to kill himself, but I'm damn sure asking him now. I need it so much in my life. I need it, Tom.
But he's the only one that does that. So saying like he's the GOAT and then like Keanu is way lower than that is like, to me, is something interesting, because we didn't ask Keanu to kill himself, but he's still out here, if you watch it, doing Taekwondo, doing those weird California gun range courses where women are wearing like bikinis and stuff. If you've seen those, those are wild, weird videos.
It looks very Republican at those shooting.
Yeah,
they're very Republican, bro.
And the like pan 2 inches to the left is like a MAGA sign. Just 2 inches. They never said, but just pan 2 inches to the left. But the hype for this movie, the training of this movie, kind of became the story of this movie and the subsequent movies as well. And so, oh shit! Every time that Keanu Reeves was firing a gun at that gun range, it was going viral on Instagram every single time. And so it kind of fed into this hype machine. And when I watched it, it really fed into that for me. And it looked like something, it was so steady and so smooth, and you could see all the action, and you could tell that Keanu was doing 95% of these stunts, and you could tell that everybody was bought in. They did it on a micro budget. As far as entertainment goes, as taut and as quick as it is brilliant. gets you a little bit in on the backstory. The second one does a better job of that. Like I said, I think I like the second one a little bit more. Tej doesn't like the second one. Third one kind of even steps on that a little bit further. But the first one, it's no frills. We're just going to shoot each other. We're going to have gunplay like we haven't seen in forever in a movie, or ever in a movie in American cinema. And we're just going to have Keanu looking at the camera and saying, yeah, thinking I'm back. And like, I'm in. I'm completely in.
You don't really hate that, Royden. Do you hate that line reading? Because it gets me every time when he does that thing. I love it.
It's bad.
It's bad.
Maybe it's because I've seen the movie so many times. It's not even bad to me anymore. It's
good. I'm thinking, yeah, I'm back. It's like that's not good. Yeah, that's not good. But like, yeah, the interactions of him interacting with the old dude in the hallway, like, do I know you? Yeah, I think so, and stuff like that. The dryness of it is why people.
That would be Clark Peters.
Yeah,
Mr. Freeman.
It's why they find Keanu endearing, because at certain points in his career, people kind of thought that Keanu Reeves was a dipshit, but he's not. He's just the way he speaks and stuff.
He's just not good at talking. That's all.
Yeah, it's just kind of endearing. And what we know about Keanu, where you fucked up, Dex, is that he's never been problematic as an entire life. People love Keanu Reeves.
People love Keanu Reeves.
He had a brand new puppy who is going to piss and shit all over that nice ass house. The dog is sitting on the edge of the bed, and he looks at the dog and he says, well, come on then, because the dog wants to come up on the bed. Come on, man. This guy is perfect. That shit is the best. It's the best shit ever.
That's probably the biggest disconnect for me, like, with this movie, because a lot of people who I've heard, like, gush about this movie, they're like, I thought the dog thing would be stupid when I saw the trailer, but then I watched it and I was like, yeah, that's a great motivation for an action.
That is me.
It's perfect.
But
perfect.
I was like, I thought it was stupid when I saw the trailer, and I still thought it was stupid when I watched the movie.
It's the only motivation you need for this.
You gonna let your ops kill your dog? You gonna let your ops spin the block
What we're losing in this entire thing is that John Wick is a psychopath, but you don't see that through the cloud of Keanu Reeves. That's what I'm saying. If this was any other guy, if this was Michael Fassbender or something, you'd be like, oh yeah, he is crazy. With John Wick,
Michael Fassbender looks like a serial killer. I mean, John Wick is a serial killer, but Michael Fassbender looks like a serial killer, and that's much scarier. Much scarier.
And I'm just saying, you're kind of rooting for the guy that looks like Keanu Reeves, even though he's a mass murderer. It's like, we're gonna root for that guy.
He put the fear of God in Reek. Reek had the fear of God in him. This is literally the boogeyman. But it's not just the boogeyman who indiscriminately goes and kills people in the night. This is the boogeyman whose dog was killed, which justifies all the boogeyman-dom in the whole movie. It's perfect.
Dex hates dogs. That's what we're saying.
Yeah, that's what we're realizing.
Look, man, I just wasn't invested.
Speed, hates dogs.
Hey, relax, bro. Relax.
I
just wasn't invested.
There are some problems with this movie. I'm not going to say that it's not perfect for an action film, for a minute or an hour 40 action film. It is an A+, like that, like Tej was saying. Or actually, I think this is an A for like an hour 40 action film. For just a film in general, and I think for what they did, B+. There are some big problems with it. The main bad guy, the villain, not good. Not good.
Like
no, not good. He's almost like a comedic presence throughout the he kind of like derps his way through it, and then the final fight is like you can visibly see that they run out of money at the very end of the movie.
I'll give you that.
Yeah, they were just like, all right, I think we're done, folks.
But what are you supposed to do with the final fight? You've built up this guy as Superman, as OP as hell. Literally, the mere mention of his name, he literally looked at his son and was like, "There's nothing you can do. Like, no, I don't want you to go kill him. You're dead. Like, you're dead already."
I think you can just end it with him killing the son. I really do. Like, you can just end it with him killing the son and that guy, like, either save him for a subsequent sequel or I don't know. But having two old people fist fight in the rain at the very end of the movie isn't that great when one of them has been OP this entire time and the other one's just like a dude. And not Schwarzenegger or not Stallone, I needed a super famous
But he has a Russian accent, so he's supposed to be like scary. But when he throws the first punch, you're like, oh, this guy can't fight for shit.
Yeah.
When he throws the first punch, it's like, oh, the stakes of this fight are gone now.
Yeah, and there's no sort of like lead up into that this guy can fight. We know he's a crazy person.
He's a
and
crime
killer.
boss.
Yeah, and a killer. But there's no weight to it.
Not to mean you can fight.
I needed a make Willem Dafoe that guy. It's even better. You know what I mean?
They had Mayhem on set. Maybe Mayhem could have been the big bad, but Mayhem is too funny.
No, he was comedic relief too.
I do have a question that may break the movie, and I watched it and hadn't noticed it before. How does Theon get his address to come to the house and not know who John Wick is? Like when you figure that out, because his dad was like, he didn't have to give him a history lesson or anything. He just said, "Hey, this is John Wick. You done fucked up, dude." And then it was like understood. But then how did he get to the house? Because they come in the middle of the night.
License plate.
True.
The license plate. They just tracked his license plate. They knew his car.
Mm.
And also,
there's a bunch of leaps that you have to be willing to take, but you're always asked to take leaps in action movies. Like I don't count that off. But I will say, yeah, it's probably like license plate is how I would explain
This is not Theon in this movie. This is
movie
Reek.
magic.
This is Reek. This is not Theon, bros. Call him Reek. That is Reek.
There's another thing too that I will say that I laughed out loud when I watched it is that the movie could have been over at the club scene when he points the gun at him and doesn't shoot him.
I totally disagree with this take. This is all over the internet. You could literally Google, why doesn't John Wick shoot Theon when he first sees him? It's literally a Google search that people have searched. I could not disagree more with that question because the point of the first half of the movie is that John Wick is Boogeyman. And if John Wick is Boogeyman, he can't shoot him from far away. He's got to scare the living life out of him.
Got to make him feel him.
You got to make him feel him.
Feel him in the gulag.
Cologne. So I think that it's perfect. The way to set up the whole Baba Yaga part of the movie is that he just looks at him in his eyes. He's like, everybody in here is gonna die. You might not die tonight, but you know you're gonna be dead. Like you're going to go play Call of Duty with your friends at that safe house. You know I'm coming, brother. Like you know I'm coming there.
In the same movie, he stabs a guy in that club
and
stares at him the entire time.
Dex, that didn't entertain you?
I will say
the life drain out of this man's eyes from right here. He was right here. That shit was crazy.
In his face, didn't say a word.
Right in his face, didn't say one word. He just looked at him.
Him grabbing the big dude with the beard by the beard and shooting him twice in the head for no fucking reason. Incredible. Like you didn't have to do that. Like, that was just pure disrespect. You didn't have to do that at all.
Or when he's like has somebody pinned down and has to reload to like he just has somebody a knee on somebody's like head.
I love that.
Has to, like,
he just reload. Like stay right here for a second. Be right back.
Yeah. Him and the one guy like playing peekaboo behind the pillar, just like I'm gonna shoot him in the foot. Like here we go. That'll get him out here. Quit playing with me.
There are points in this though, Tej, and I meant to I like wrote that down was when there are points where I think they really tried really hard to make this guy seem like he's the devil. And it's kind of hard because he's Keanu, he's good looking, we know him as Keanu Reeves, but
way too good looking to be the devil, even though he plays the devil in no, he's not the devil. What is that movie?
No, Devil's Advocate.
Devil's Advocate, no.
Yeah.
Pacino's the devil.
Yeah. There you go.
Spoiler alert for the Devil's Advocate. No, so I think what they did in this film is establish a really interesting universe that they were able to draw upon, which is crazy that they were able to make this into because they didn't really set up a sequel in this film
at all.
Nah.
They kind of had to draw the second one from thin air, and the third one they set up in the second one, but the second one, what they did was just incredible filmmaking to me. They set up a universe that people kind of like with a cast of colorful characters that everybody seemed to like, Ian McShane and Lance Reddick and everybody else. And then they gave it enough back to like, what the fuck are those coins? how much are they? You know, like I love it. Like, how much is one coin worth? I just wanted to know.
Body.
Yeah, and so it just set up so much stuff that they were able to spin off that I think is really incredible filmmaking. A lot with a little, I will say. Marcus, do you have anything else?
And the problem with watching this movie, because I haven't seen 2 and 3 in such a long time, that I was merging plot points from the other movies.
2 and 3, I did the same thing.
I was like, I thought this happens in this movie. I guess not. I guess I'm thinking of 2, and just kept happening over and over again. The other question I had was Adrian Palicki. So she knew that when Lance Reddick called her that she was going to die, right? Like, why? I just don't understand. Like,
why did she show up then?
Exactly.
Yeah, why go?
I literally don't understand that either. I don't understand that.
She knew.
And then she kind of stands there like, shit.
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
Well, here's how I go.
Like Joe Pesci. Like I don't understand what was going on. Like it didn't
Joe Pesci and Goodfellas.
It did have big Joe Pesci vibes. Like, dude, you know you're cooked. Why are you here?
The entire time you're saying, well, fuck the establishment. Like, I don't care. I'm going to do what I want for this money, though. And then you just still get got doing the thing you knew was going to happen. Like, I didn't follow exactly what was going on there.
And that's another thing. Like, I feel like that happened too quickly. Like, all of everything with her character happened way too quickly. Like, and it just ended up feeling like nothing. Like, you know, she dies just so unceremoniously that I'm like, what was the point of this? Like, I didn't need this.
You could have had them fight again.
Have them fight again, or like
have who fight again?
Perkins and Wick. Yeah, but like just give her some kind of meeting. Like she killed that guy, like fuck him, I guess. And then like she just dies. There's nothing else. There's no other like intrigue here. Like she shows up at the Defoe like interrogation, but like that's not really anything because that didn't go anywhere either. Like just I don't know. Give me something here. Give me a little backstory, a little like betrayal. Give me something. This movie was all just like shit is happening. We're going. All right, everyone's dead now except John Wick. We're done. Like
exactly.
They gave you betrayal. William Dafoe betrays the main big bad, and for a second you're supposed to think that William Dafoe is about to betray John Wick. That's why the first scene at the funeral is so weird because John Wick says, "What are you really doing here?" And he says, "Just checking up on an old friend." Then the next time you see the Green Goblin is like, "Sure, I'll take that contract.
Yeah,
I'll kill John Wick." So you're supposed to be like,
what
side is he on? Whatever. But I feel like the whole time, even when I first saw it, I knew that Willem Dafoe was going to be on John Wick's side. I never thought that he was going to switch sides. I never thought that. I see what they're trying to set up, but it doesn't really work.
Yeah, unmoved.
I cannot believe that you called this man Draymond Green.
Like dude, said, at least give us Klay Thompson, man.
Like, bro,
unbelievable.
John Wick is at the very least, the Chauncey Billups Pistons run where he was the best player on a team that won a championship that nobody thought they were going to win.
Big shot.
That's at least he's at least that. No disrespect to Draymond, who I don't love, and Draymond is a 4-time champion, but Draymond has never been the guy on a championship team. And
nothing about the John Wick franchise screams like backpack jump shot or triple single.
Nothing.
Look, man, you have to have everything else in your movie be absolutely perfect to warp around the fact that Keanu Reeves can't talk.
And it was.
They did.
The director's got to put up like incredible numbers, like with the fight choreography and the cinematography,
which is what it was,
and the lighting and the sound. Exactly. Steph Curry over there going off. Klay Thompson over there going off. Draymond Green, we need you to come in here, play defense, get some rebounds. Do not shoot the ball for any fucking reason. And we're going to win a championship. Thank you. That's it.
At least give us Scottie Pippen. What are we doing here?
No. He is not like that. Keanu Reeves is not like that. I'm sorry.
I mean, what did you say? Well, let's talk about that was our review of John Wick. I encourage you to watch the second one. I really love the second one. They just take, especially even in the third one too, they just take everything that worked here. They said, we're just going to do it again and do it a lot more of it.
Scale, yeah.
With more money. And it looks really good. Apparently the guy that was the director of photography for, or the cinematographer for The Shape of Water, and Guillermo del Toro's now DP shot that movie as well, and shot 3. So it's like you have an Oscar-winning cinematographer working on these movies, which is crazy. He didn't work on the first one, but the second and third one start to look significantly better because they have more money. But I encourage you, like, just give them a chance. You don't have to, but unlike
I'll end up watching them, and then I'll go watch the 4th one in theaters when it comes out, whenever that is. So I mean,
next year,
I'm
May
here.
2023.
May next year.
Yeah, it got pushed back, but unlike the Matrix, it gets. I think it gets better. There isn't as many diminishing returns with these sequels as the Matrix sequels, which
March 24th.
But let's talk about Keanu's career, because Dex has been disrespecting him all day, and we've been going at him, and he got.
Y'all know I'm right.
This is the tweet where at Lord Dexon, and go find this tweet. On his best day as an action star, Keanu Reeves is Draymond Green. Y'all be talking about him like he's Steph Curry. He said Keanu Reeves with a Reves. Our buddy said, "Oh, thank God! I thought you meant Keanu Reeves for a second." Which is a very funny tweet. But we just have to disagree, because for somebody that has had, I don't know, 5-6 hits as an action star, to say he's the 4th best action star on a championship team is insane.
Look, man, where does Keanu Reeves rank in your like modern day action stars? Like since 2000, like how many
Modern
dudes
day?
are you?
Since 2000, number 2.
Yeah.
Are you dead? You're dead ass. Number
Who
2.
Who else?
We all agree that Cruz is 1. We all agree
Cruz
with that.
is Cruz is 1. Cruz is him. I'm taking Matt Damon over him. I'm taking Will Smith over him.
Will Smith?
No.
I'm taking
Will
Will Smith
Smith.
over.
You
I'm
mean
taking
since
Will Smith over
1990
Keanu
or you mean
Reeves
since
every
2000? Because
goddamn
there's a
day.
difference.
I'm taking Will Smith over Keanu Reeves every day. I'm sorry.
Are you
To this
talking
day.
about
Wild Wild West, Will Smith. We're talking about that movie?
Yeah, what time period are we talking about here?
I am taking Will Smith over.
When is the
Keanu
last time you
Reeves
saw Will Smith in
every
a
day.
successful action movie? When is the last time that's happened?
Hey, my man is versatile. He can get
Bad
these
Boys 3.
Oscars out here. He can be in other
Bad
movies.
Boys 3 is one of the worst movies that I've ever
You're
seen.
saying action star, but I
ever,
think you mean actor.
I'm saying to make a good action movie, I need to the actor needs to still be good, right?
No.
Like
Denzel Washington has
I don't
done better
agree.
action movies the last 20 years than Will Smith.
and then Keanu Reeves, but
No.
I'm taking him over Keanu Reeves. Like we're already at what 4 or 5? Like I'm sorry,
I'm a better
he's
actor
just
than
not-
Steven
he's not
Seagal
him.
right now. You don't have to be able to act to be in an action movie. You need to be able to whoop some ass. That's it.
Look,
That's it.
I need you to give me something. Give me some humor, some heart, some reason to care whether your character lives or dies. And he
There's
ain't got
humor
it.
and heart
I'm
in this
sorry.
film, by the way. There's
Yep.
both.
What?
There's humor and heart in John Wick.
What heart? There's no heart at
The
all.
dude is in love with the cutest dog of all time. That's not hard.
All right. He had a dog for 2 minutes.
He
And I'm
goes
supposed
in
to
and
care about
rescues
that for the
another
rest of
dog.
the movie.
He rescued another dog at the end of the movie.
Dex doesn't like rescue pets. Adopt, don't shop.
Hey, dogs don't do it for
You're
me.
part
like
of the
that,
problem,
personally.
Dex. You're part of the problem.
I can't. That can't carry a movie for me. I need something else. All right. I'm sorry. He's not like that. I'm taking several action stars over him. I've seen. Never mind. I was gonna give a take
You
that's
about to say
actually
something
bad.
crazy.
Never mind.
You're
I
gonna-
was about to say something.
Unlike
crazy.
this actually
Stop
bad take
yourself.
that you're
Yeah,
leaning into the skid here.
If you didn't stop yourself from saying he's Draymond, I would love to hear what you were about to say because you were about to say something crazy.
I was about to say something crazy. I was about to say I would take Jamie Foxx over him in an action movie.
Hell no! What are we
That's
doing?
wrong. That's very wrong.
Not you spinning the block on Jamie Foxx after you already shot him up. Now you want to come by and take him with you to the drive-by of Keanu Reeves' house? That's not happening.
I mean, but hey, look, Jamie Foxx could do John Wick, but Keanu Reeves can't do
No,
Django.
it would be a
This is
completely
the worst.
different movie.
Yeah, of course Keanu can't
It'd
do
be like-
Django because he's white. What are you doing?
Oh, did you say Django? I thought you were.
Yes,
I
he
thought-
did.
Oh, yeah.
I did
duh.
say Django. Yeah, we make jokes
Which
here.
one? And this
Yeah,
one,
fun
Keanu
here.
Reeves put on blackface. What?
Hey, Robert Downey Jr. got that in his bag. Keanu does it. Sorry.
Robert Downey Jr. should have left that out of his bag. That's the problem.
Let's see. Okay, so Keanu's IMDb. It's such an interesting career, because we look at a career retrospective of him. He is sort of a teenage heartthrob. He's in the sort of River Phoenix camp of teen heartthrobs. Of course, he does with River Phoenix, My Own Private Idaho, which I think River Phoenix gets nominated for an Oscar for, but it kind of catapults him into young stardom. Then he kind of goes around and kind of floats around these comedies. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure comes out, a movie which I adore. And then it starts to kind of look like, wait, is he sort of like dim? Is he sort of like dumb, and he just is getting these roles because he's really good looking and things like that? But it.
Uh-oh.
Well, bye, Roden.
Likes.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, he's
I
back.
just lost you for a second.
He's a really thoughtful guy that Keanu's a really thoughtful guy that likes what he likes, and he knows what he's about. So he doesn't like speak out in public very much. He doesn't go on a lot of late night talk shows or do anything. So I think the thought was that they thought he was dim. Then he comes out and kind of turns that on his head in the 90s with Point Break and Speed within 3 years of each other. And then it becomes, oh, is he like a legitimate movie star?
And the answer is no.
Yeah, the answer is yes, Dex.
No,
Unequivocally.
really
yes.
not. No.
Unequivocally, the answer is yes.
He
Marcus,
is.
back me up here.
He is not. He's not.
A little
he's not
art
like
house
that,
movie
man.
known as The Matrix comes out in 1999. Never heard of it.
Look, there's a
And
reason.
we're off. And we're
There's
off.
a reason that all of the John Wick movies combined have not made as much money as Top Gun Maverick just made. It's because Keanu Reeves is not like that. He's not.
Also,
like
they spent
that.
$200 million
But
making.
they're different movies. This movie is so much more violent than Maverick is.
Yes,
That's
and one
fine.
of them is PG-13, and you can bring kids
That's
to it.
fine.
And the other one's John Wick.
That's
You can't
fine.
say that's fine when you just alienated half the populace that could go see that movie.
Also,
I'm-
they spent
You can make a
talked ad
rated R
nauseam.
movie with a movie star in it that makes more than $86 million at the box office. Like, you can do that. That happens. That's a thing.
John Wick was never going to make $1 billion. What are we talking about?
It doesn't need to make $1 billion, but
You
like,
just said it didn't make it. What are you talking about?
it can make more than 86 million. Come on. Like movie stars are embarrassed by those kind of numbers. Come on.
Brad Pitt was just
On a
in
$20
movie that
million
made like
budget.
$50 million. The Bullet
Of
Train made
new
like
IP
$50 million.
that's completely brand new. There's nothing about this that's not original.
Look, if you are a movie star, you should be able to get bigger numbers than that. You should be able, and Matrix 4 like made nothing. Like, if
Okay,
you-
that is bullshit because they released. You know what you're
That
doing
movie
here
stinks.
because they released that movie day and date on HBO Max
Yes. And also, it's one of
on
the worst
Christmas
movies
when
ever
everybody was
made.
already at home. Nobody was going to go see that in theaters.
It's at the bottom of his filmography. We cannot compare that to what's at literally the most successful movie that Tom Cruise has ever made. We can't make that comparison. It's
Look.
the most successful Tom Cruise
y'all
movie.
copping, please.
And,
Y'all,
and don't sit here and act like every Mission Impossible.
y'all
movie
know
has
this man's
$500
game
million.
is limited. Y'all are copping,
And they've kept
please.
Maverick in theaters much longer than most movies.
Look
are.
how long that they've been making Mission Impossible movies. Those movies don't make $900 million. They're great movies. I
They
love
make
them.
more than
It's not
86.
Not all of them.
There's a distinct difference here. They spent $20 million. I guarantee you they didn't spend $1 million on advertising that movie. they spent $400 million advertising Top Gun Maverick. I
'Cause they
guarantee.
had a better movie star.
We aren't saying that Tom Cruise isn't a great. We just said he was the
Yeah.
GOAT.
We just don't like where you've ranked Keanu Reeves like somewhere the 37th best action star when he's really number 2. He's number.
Nah,
we all know
he
Tom
ain't.
Cruise is him.
Well, then you go, okay, look. Then you go, and it is in a weird down period for him after Matrix Reloaded, Matrix Revolutions, which is a bad movie. People were saying, like, quote tweeting your thing with Constantine, which is a movie that comic book nerds like, but is not a good movie. So
I really like Constantine, actually.
Yeah, I enjoy it, but it's not like people were saying like Constantine, like Speed. No, it's not the same. It's not the same thing.
Okay, yeah, I definitely agree.
But it goes away. It really goes away, and he's making movies like I don't know, A Scanner Darkly, which is an experimental movie, and 47 Ronin, and The Day the Earth Stood Still, and stuff like those movies. And it just isn't working until John Wick comes back, and it really revitalizes his career, and people remember, oh yeah, Keanu Reeves has it like that, because that makes $80 million. The next movie, which they doubled the budget, it makes $40 million. It's $40 million. John Wick Chapter 2 ends up making over $100 million at the box office.
Yeah, he's doubled it every single time with every single sequel.
$40 million budget, $170 million worldwide.
And Parabellum was $75 million and $327 million box office.
Yeah, for a rated R hard action movie, people remembered, oh yeah, Keanu Reeves has it like that. I had forgotten after Matrix Revolutions because that movie was so bad. But like, I just cannot sit here and say like he's not a movie star when he objectively is one of the 10 biggest movie stars that we've had in the last 20 years.
You look how handsome he is with all that hair. You can't. Come on, what are we doing here, bro? What are we really doing? Look at this.
When he cut the beard and had the long hair, though, that's not good. He needs the beard and the hair.
They have to go together. I totally agree. They have to go
together. He can have the short hair with the beard, but he can't have the long hair without the beard. Doesn't look good. But yeah, he had like Peyton Manning neck surgery, and he's still out here rolling around. Now, Marcus and I do kind of have the same take that maybe he is like, maybe he needs to wrap it up after the 4th.
I am fucking worried about 4. I keep saying this.
Why?
Because I told you he is barely getting it through 3, and he didn't do anything in Matrix. Yes. This
is ridiculous.
So then you tell me now we're going through the 4th one, and like all the issues that I had with both John Wick 3 and with Matrix, that's now just going to be absolved. It's going to be cool. So I don't know. I'm going to see it. I'll be there day 1.
He is amazing. I hope he makes 10 more of them. Let's go. Let's keep it going.
He looked cooked in Matrix 4, bros. I'm sorry. He looked like he's done.
And no one is fighting you on that. No one is fighting you on that.
Yeah, we can't bring up Matrix 4 as, I mean, we can because he was in Matrix 4 and it was a bad movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. That'd be like Tom Cruise coming back and making Edge of Tomorrow 2 is like a fucking stinker. But that
would be like if you put Steph Curry on the worst basketball team that you've ever seen, and then they get cooked, and you'd be like, I don't know, Steph Curry looked like he lost a step when he was out there. Even if he drops 45 points, it's not going to matter because they're going to lose by 30 because The Matrix 4 is the worst movie.
But Steph Curry would go out there and still drop the 45 points, and they'd like get blown out. Keanu Reeves did not drop 45 points in Matrix 4. The team got cooked, and he looked terrible while they got cooked. Like, it's not.
I mean, Steph missed the playoffs 1 year too as the main guy. So what are we talking about?
But he was averaging like 30 a game.
Oh man, I just think that for all of his faults, which we agree that Keanu Reeves
cannot act.
Not a good actor. We've said that for all of his faults, there is something and has been something about that guy that the masses seem to enjoy, and maybe that is because he's like a genuinely wholesome guy. The stories of him are wild. Also, he's been through a ton in his personal life, but it doesn't have anything to do with like his acting career.
Yeah.
But he's been through a ton in his personal life too. His story is actually kind of really tragic. He's had a ton of friends die. I think he and his girlfriend lost a child, if I'm not mistaken. But he's just continued to make really entertaining movies for decades. which is something like who's the actors we have left from the 80s? Tom Cruise, Denzel, Keanu Reeves, and like Michael Keaton made a little bit of a comeback.
Yeah,
that's it.
I mean, Stallone's
Tom Hanks
still around.
Erasure.
Tom Hanks is
Tom Hanks wasn't making good movies in the 80s.
Was he not?
I mean, Big. What are you talking
Big
about?
is 89. Yeah, you're right. Okay. The rest of everything before Big ain't great. But yeah, so it of those people, it's Hanks, it's Denzel, it's Cruise, Keaton, and Keanu.
I mean, you've also got like the De Niro's, the Pacinos, but I mean, they're not,
of all those of that crew that continuously was like a movie star. But even you see like De Niro and Pacino.
I mean, they're both in I'm Just Here for the Bag territory.
They're both making just like straight to Redbox, which is still a thing, movies. Anyway, it comes in
band of like 50 to 60-year-old, 65, 66-year-old actors. Yeah, Keanu's probably up there. That's fine. I can give you that.
I just think the reason that you're getting packed up is that his career has spanned so long and people have such an affinity for him that it was unwise.
I mean, you're just not gonna make it in cinema for 35 plus years as an A-list celebrity and not be good at something. Like they want him for some reason.
Look at that jawline, man. How can you not?
He's cool. Beautiful gowns. Beautiful gowns.
This is ridiculous.
The dude can't act. I'm sorry. Like, we all know this, and like that takes away from
none of us are arguing that
Do you
point.
think Jason Statham can act? Do you think that he's one of the worst actors ever? But he's an action star, or well, he used to be.
Yeah, but like we're not sitting here having Jason Statham retrospectives. Like we're like, you know what I'm saying?
That's
like,
we haven't done Taken yet, which is incredible.
We have the appropriate level of reference for Jason Statham. I feel like Keanu Reeves. We're trying to make him into something he's not, in my opinion.
I can't believe you said that right now Will Smith's a better action star. Will Smith hasn't made a successful action movie since Bad Boys 2.
Look,
Bad Boys
all
3
I'm saying is if you...
Bad Boys 3 is awful. I guess it did okay, but that shit is the worst movie I've ever seen.
Wait, which one just came out? Was that 3 or was it a 4th?
That was Bad Boys 3. They did not have the GOAT director on set. The GOAT director was making Ambulance, a much better movie. Will Smith should have just did Ambulance. That would have been much better.
I don't think they let Michael Bay on the Bad Boys 3 set. I think he probably wanted. I think he's a producer of the movie, but I don't think they're like, nah. No,
they missed them. They missed out. Those dudes. Much respect to those dudes. I think those are the same dudes who made Captain Marvel, and they also made Batgirl, I believe. So it's those dudes.
Yeah, they made Batgirl.
Those dudes are cool. That movie fucking stinks. It was awful, and it was mostly Martin's fault. Martin. You want to talk about the dedication Keanu Reeves has? Martin is the opposite. He had no dedication to an action film. None at all.
Hey,
bro, you knew this movie was going to be made. Like, do you not want to, like, remotely try to get into shape? Or,
they going to pay me the same regardless.
Iron out the chops a little bit? Like,
whether I'm in shape or not.
The day before they got on set, Martin did like 3 arm curls and was like, still got it. Rolled up on set.
I can see a little definition in these.
Me personally, I would not embarrass myself like that in front of Vanessa Hudgens, but that's just me. So
Dex is built different.
I'm built different. Yeah, Vanessa Hudgens gonna be here. Yeah, I'm coming with a 6-pack. Let's go.
Martin Lawrence is like 75 years old. He don't give a fuck about no Vanessa Hudgens.
That's the thing about Keanu. That's the thing about Keanu. He is also ancient, and he is still rolling around. That's also the thing. That's also the thing about Keanu too that we don't talk about enough is that he has the Tom Cruise thing where it's like, how old is this guy? Actually, 54? Oh, he's kind of looked the same for the past 20 years. Anyway, real quick before we go, let's give our top three. We're not going to do top five because Dex doesn't like this guy. Top three Keanu films.
It's not that I dislike him, to be clear. He seems like a perfectly lovely human being. I just think he can't act, and I think you need to act to be a movie action actor star person.
Who are the other examples of that? That statement doesn't make any sense. Steven Seagal was really him, and he can act. I act better than Steven Seagal right now in his prime.
Look, Schwarzenegger's not a good actor.
No, he never was.
At all.
All right, guys. True Lies and Last Action Hero say otherwise. That's all I'm saying.
Well, great movies. Terminator 2 is a great movie. That doesn't mean that Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Are we even sure that Ryan Reynolds is a good actor?
Thank you.
I am not going to fight you on whether or not Ryan Reynolds is good. I do not care about Ryan Reynolds at all.
Deadpool is still absolutely phenomenal, and Ryan Reynolds knows he cannot act. He knows it. He makes jokes about it in his movies. Like, he knows he can.
Look, man, I see a Matt Damon action movie. I feel something. Matt Damon's got something for you. He's going to deliver some lines. All right.
This is not fair. There are certain people who make action movies but are actors. Like, they act. Will Smith, Tom Hanks, like, these people are people that act, that happen to sometimes dabble into action. You cannot compare them to the guys who only did, like, Keanu Reeves is an action star. He's not going to go make an Oscar movie.
Draymond Green is a defensive player of the year. You can't ask him to shoot 40% from three, but he's going to give you some all-time great defense. And he's a 4-time and a Hall of Famer. And that's a perfectly fine thing to be. But you ain't Steph Curry. That's all I'm saying.
Keanu has carried multiple teams to championships.
No, he hasn't. He's been carried to championships.
Who carried him in The Matrix? Who carried him?
Lawrence Fishburne is giving that man everything that makes The Matrix interesting. And then the goddamn cinematographers and directors have to fucking invent new technology every time that Keanu Reeves is in a good movie. They have to pull fucking bullet time out of their ass to, like, give this man a hit. All right? Like, this man is being carried.
This is ridiculous.
Every Keanu Reeves movie where, like, the director or cinematographer or somebody didn't, like, revitalize the entire action genre with the way they filmed the movie, nobody cares about that shit anymore.
Some would say he was privy to that.
What?
it succeeded because he was in it, because he committed to being in those
you
roles.
You could have anyone commit to The Matrix and do what Keanu did. Like, there's so many actors.
Apparently not Will Smith.
Apparently not Will Smith.
Hey, Will Smith couldn't turn down the charm. Like, sorry.
Couldn't turn down the charm.
Couldn't turn down the charm. He was like, I want to talk too much. And they were like, no, we need someone who will not talk at all.
Unbelievable.
Anyway.
Unbelievable.
Top 3 Keanu Reeves movies.
Top 3 Keanu Reeves movies. My number 3 is Speed. Number 3 is Speed. Another, well, to your point, another movie that redefined the action drama, because everything else after the 90s became like Speed on a boat, Speed on a train, Speed on a plane. And like Steven Seagal did, I think, like, Under Siege is that movie.
Under Siege is also phenomenal, but yes, it's obviously a blatant ripoff, but it is great.
So Marcus, you're number 3.
Like I said before, I really like Constantine. I think that might be my number 3.
You got to be kidding me.
Really?
I really enjoy Constantine. I don't know what it is about it. I like the ride every single time we go on it.
It's a role that he actually did kind of fit in, as somebody that is kind of reserved and run down and beaten down.
Yeah.
It was a role that he kind of fit in, and I don't think that
I liked his comment, or sorry, his on-screen relationship with Rachel Weisz was really good.
Yeah, I just don't think comic book fans were ready for that sort of take on that material, which Constantine is a wild comic book anyway. So yeah, I don't think people were quite ready for that. I think it would be really embraced now if they came back and they actually did something like that. There's also some wonky CGI and stuff in that movie.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the budget for that is not anywhere for where we have now.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, Dex, go ahead.
Hmm.
I'm gonna actually change my number 3 too. Once you get,
I can go.
Yeah,
That's
go ahead, Teach.
I'm also going to go Speed. Speed is great. We've talked about Speed many times on this podcast. It's a great film. It's my number 3 Keanu Reeves film.
that podcast, I've gone back and listened to it. That podcast is just me and T screaming, "That's fucking awesome!" They jumped the bus over the highway. That was great.
I think I'm also going to go with Speed. I was really tempted to say Toy Story 4 just to fuck with y'all, but I'm gonna say Speed.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna,
I was also tempted. I love Toy Story 4.
That's a great part by him.
I love Toy Story 4. Yeah, but,
that's acting, by the way. That's not action, but that's acting right there. Toy Story 4. That's acting.
I'm gonna change my number 3. I love Speed to death. It's been in my life on TNT, on in my home for 15 years. I'm going Bill and Ted Excellent Adventure.
I fucking knew it.
I love Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure so much. It is one of the seminal comedy performances in movies of my youth. My mom let me watch that movie when I was probably way too young. They're making 69 jokes and stuff in that movie. It's fantastic. It's just a really stupid concept that is executed well and with heart. I love that movie. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is my number 3. My number 2, John Wick Chapter 2 is my number 2. I think I've now watched John Wick Chapter 2 more than I've watched all the other 3 combined.
Really?
The suit up scene into the catacombs fight is some of the best 30 minutes of action movie cinema in forever. The him going to a sommelier of guns is awesome. It's just awesome. So John Wick Chapter 2, Marcus, number 2.
John Wick 1 was going to be my number 2.
I think we just talked about that. Tej?
I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to say John Wick 3 and John Wick 1 tie for my number 2.
It's the same movie.
To be fair, it is, but it's fucking awesome. I just love both of those movies so much, and I don't hate John Wick 2. It just doesn't crack my top. I would have to go back to some other Keanu movies before I got to John Wick 2.
Number 2 for Dex.
I mean, I feel like I also have to go. No, I don't. I'm gonna go with Hardball. I like Hardball a lot. Hardball's a good time. Classic cinema.
Love it when
that
you
movie
call me big.
Also weirdly on TV a lot. I feel like
it was that had a TV run that was very long. It was on TNT or TBS all the time.
Yep.
So I feel like I've watched like different chunks of it at least 15 times. Like I've seen the whole thing all the way through. Like, but I feel like I've watched just a piece of it here or there, like 15 different times. I fuck with Hardball. Shout out to Michael B. Jordan.
I was texting you when you were slandering Keanu. I was saying, G baby did not die for this. Well, talk about a bait and switch in a movie of, oh, we're all having a good time, and then they just kill a child in the middle of that movie. What a tough hang.
You got to have the stakes raised. That's what Dex was talking about. You got to have the stakes raised.
You know what I'm saying? You got served, you got to kill Lil Saint. You know what I'm saying? Like, it'd be like that.
Oh, God. Lil Saint.
Do it for Lil Saint.
Lil Saint. Number 1 for all of us.
We all know
the Matrix Revolutions.
Always be my maybe. Oh,
wait, y'all didn't have Lake House as a Lake House?
The one where he writes letters to people
to Sandra Bullock in the past
future,
or in the future,
or in the past. Yeah, that's insane. That's the kind of movies he was doing between the last Matrix and John Wick, which is a weird career trajectory. But yeah, it's the Matrix. We don't have to really talk about the Matrix. It's the Matrix.
Y'all
really
see the Matrix.
I do want to see the Matrix in theaters if they ever re-release it, like for the 25th anniversary of it. Or whatever.
I did go see it on the 20th anniversary, and it was fire. Shout out to Dolby Cinema.
The reason why the Draymond thing is so offensive is not even because of John Wick. It's because of the Matrix. being the star of a movie that is that big, that successful, that cool, that groundbreaking could never, ever, ever, ever have you compared to the fourth best guy on a championship winning team. That doesn't even make sense. That is Michael Jordan levels. That is Steph Curry.
Hey man, Draymond Green is a third best player on a championship team. Let's not disrespect.
The movie The Matrix doesn't work without Keanu Reeves. He is quite literally the perfect person to play Neo. He is, and I'm not saying he's a great actor. However, the part was literally made for him. I could not imagine anybody else in the world playing that part at that time.
Yeah, what the Wachowskis are asking him to do is exactly what Keanu can do. It is in the range of what Keanu can do.
Being confused as fuck and beating the shit out of people. That's all he's got to do in the whole movie. What's going on? Oh, well, I don't know. And beat the shit out of people. That's all he's got to do. And he's got to look handsome. And he does all that to perfection. And they made literally the perfect action movie. Quite literally the perfect action movie.
Be confused and be confused is an incredible one.
He confuses me the first time I was watching. I was like, I don't know what the fuck going on. He didn't know what was going on either. It was perfect.
Yeah, he's your
Let
avatar.
Lawrence Fishburne and all the people who can talk good give us everything that's good about the Matrix, and then you just show up, look confused, and then just bend backwards real quick.
I'm not shitting on Keanu. I'm not shitting on Lawrence Fishburne's performance. I love that performance, but Keanu Reeves is the movie. As much as I love Trinity, as much as I love the whole cast is amazing. Keanu Reeves is their Kawhi Leonard. He walked into Toronto and he carried them to a championship. And he should have just left town after that and never came back to Toronto again. Instead, he made 3 more seasons with the Raptors, and they all went different levels of bad. He should have just walked away after that first basketball season. He could have just walked away.
I do kind of like that take that Keanu Reeves is what happens if Kawhi stays in Toronto. I feel like
they get bounced.
I feel like we're on to something on this one. I like that. I'll respect
the Lakers' current season where they didn't make the playoffs. People were getting hurt. The media was all over them. It was nasty. Matrix 4 was a very nasty season.
So wait, is Matrix like Spurs Kawhi and then John Wick is Toronto Kawhi, or like how, what we doing?
I like that.
I don't know what's. I mean, yeah, it's like Spurs. It's like Spurs Kawhi, and then remember when they were beating the shit out of the Warriors before Zaza Pachulia rolled his ankle. That's
Facts.
that.
Yep.
Facts. Okay.
That's Matrix Revolutions.
God, man. Matrix Resurrections was so garbage. I pray that John Wick 4 is good because I'm going to see it. I'm going to watch John Wick 2 and 3.
It's
4.
already bolstered by being made by filmmakers that actually give a shit about the movie that they're making.
Yep.
Fair enough.
Along with people that probably give a shit about the movie that they're in. So yeah, that's going to be a good start. Good start. That has been our John Wick review. I cannot wait for the 4th one to come out.
Our roast of Dex Hinton for good Twitter tweets.
You started this all on your own. You know goddamn well how people feel about Draymond Green. And you put it out there. Oh my God. Anyway, thank you to Marcus J. Brent for coming on. Where can they find your Twitter and your terrible Longhorn takes along with Teej coming up?
Oh my God. So my Twitter name is just like Royden said, Marcus J. Brent. We are coming up on said football season that he was talking about. Quinn is him.
Him.
And we're out here to right the wrongs of seasons past, my friends.
He's so much him that he had to be bullied. That Sark had to be
going down for real, is what they say.
He won the job fair and square, Royden. Don't start the fake news on this podcast.
Sark had to be bullied by online Twitter trolls to get him on, to start that man. Y'all paid $1 million to.
Hashtag bullying works, okay?
This man got the job through my father, the inventor of toaster strudel. Wouldn't be very happy about it.
Mullet season, y'all. Mullet season. We in here. We live.
But then I was talking to a Longhorn fan about this the other day. If Quinn is not him, Arch is him, allegedly.
Then Arch is him. We got him rolling back to back, baby.
Quinn is him. Arch is also him.
Has Arch played anybody above middle school yet?
Doesn't matter. Anakin Skywalker went into the where the younglings were. He slaughtered them. He slaughtered the younglings. and that was the beginning of him becoming the
This
GOAT
is a
villain of all time.
terrible analogy. I don't
All
know
right.
why.
Oh my
You
goodness.
saw what he did to those youngins. He didn't give a shit about those youngins. It was incredible content. That's what Arch is doing right now. And then he's going to come on campus and we're going to build the Death Star. It's perfect.
You know what
What
happened?
can go wrong?
And then the scrappy, happy-go-lucky Baylor is gonna come and shoot up the Death Star real quick and blow
Baylor,
this shit up.
there's no Jedi's at Baylor.
No, man, y'all are definitely Alderaan. We're blowing y'all shit up, man.
It's gonna be wild when y'all get that 5-star recruit y'all paid $8 million to come to campus, and Baylor still has the best quarterback from Louisiana. That's tough. That is tough.
Yo, dog, just because y'all pockets ain't straight like ours is, don't hate.
Hey, our trophy
man.
case is straight, so we good.
Oh, okay. So you can find him at Marcus J. Britton. You can find us all at Lord Dex Hinton. Go find his bad takes at Royden Ogletree. I don't like, nobody likes my tweets, so it's whatever. At Les Humble _Humble Teach. He has locked his shit up, so you can't even ratio him yet.
Better that way. You can't ratio
Except for
him.
when you set the timeline ablaze with that wild, you know what I'm talking about. This is a family podcast.
Oh man,
this is a family podcast. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm never
that rabbit on a Craftmatic.
Yeah, just trying to go to church on a Sunday afternoon. That's what pops up on my timeline. Jesus Christ. Anyway, that's like the most inside joke for anybody, that like the 10 people that follow Tej and listen to us at the same time. Anyway, you can find us at One Take Pod on Instagram, Twitter, and the like. TikTok, sometimes I try to post videos on there. Go follow us at Apollo HOU on all platforms as well, including TikTok, which is popping off as always. As long as Dex and the crew are talking about DVDs that they don't know the Rotten Tomatoes scores for.
That's the only thing people will watch from us. The only thing.
It's insane. It's insane. You like broke news that like that a guy was gonna be on a Transformers movie.
In a Transformers movie, going on an international tour. We go do a fucking red carpet event and shit. Nobody cares. Shit gets 4,000 views. And then
go buy DVDs from Walmart. Hey, what's that?
Literally like 10 times the views in like a matter of minutes. I was like, man, no one gives a fuck about us. They just want us to buy shitty movies.
It's insane. And y'all just have closets now full of shitty movies that somehow you got to do something with.
Y'all can buy them off us if you want to. I'll drop a link.
At Apollo HOU on all platforms, TikTok especially, Twitter right now is baseball season, but we're about to get right into football season. As always, you can follow us for all of your movie takes. On Sundays, we're going to be doing spaces, Twitter spaces, or try to be doing Twitter spaces about the House of the Dragon, the new Game of Thrones. Guys, Thrones is back. I don't know if you know that.
The feeling has been restored.
Thrones is back, so we're going to be trying to do Twitter spaces to discuss that. We had a good turnout for that very first one. Lisa came on and would not divulge the 4 episodes she had already seen, so that's great. That's great for when we have the spoilers right there, and she won't give them to us. But yeah, find our Twitter at One Take Pod and tune into those spaces Sunday nights at 10 Eastern, 9 Central time. So we would appreciate that. And Dex, what else are we doing?
Hashtag support Florence Pugh, a real action star.
Oh, yet to be actually. She did kind of pop off in Black Widow. I will say that.